So this is a trajectory towards a sale in the summer. What I know is what I know from what we've seen publicly, but what I also know from sources in the club is that Bruno will be gone in the summer if we're not in Europe. He'll go. He won't stay at Man United. And if we are in Europe, he still might go, dependent on what Man United qualify for and what he feels it's worthwhile. Basically, what I was told is if United qualify for the Champions League, he still might go because he might look at the quality of the league and what United are going to do in the summer, because he's been at the club when we've qualified for the Champions League and then not been in it the following year. So he's not naive enough to be, well, if we qualify for the Champions League, I'll stay, because he's 32. He's 32 this year. So the chances are that unless Bruno Fernandes sees Champions League qualification and a proper vision for the future, he probably won't stay. And what are the chances that in the next 5 months we're going to qualify for the Champions League and show Bruno Fernandes that we've got a vision to compete for the Premier League and the Champions League? It's very, very slim. So I think he'll go in the summer. Somebody said to me about 2 weeks ago, it's more than 50-50 whether he'll go. And I think 50-50 is worrying, but they were saying it's more than 50-50. They wouldn't give me a percentage, but they said it's more than 50-50 slanting towards him leaving than staying. So, I mean, that could be 55-45, it could be 60-40, it could be 70-30, but it's more than 50-50 apparently. So he will go in the summer. There's a very high chance of it. But we cannot do this in January. This is where I draw a line under this. This has to not happen because I don't think there's a United fan out there. I don't even think Ricky would agree with selling Bruno Fernandes in January. That cannot happen. The reality is it can. The release clause is there and it can be triggered from clubs outside of the Premier League in January. So if somebody comes up and spends £56 million, they could do it. But I don't think anyone's going to do that in January. I can't see a club that would need to do that. PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they don't desperately need to spend £56 million on Bruno Fernandes in January. And I don't think the Saudis have the £56 million release clause. I think that there's a different clause for them. So I don't see it happening, and it can't happen. In fact, I would say about Bruno Fernandes, by all means, move him on in the summer. I think we should have done it last summer. But it's such a symbolic thing to do that you've got to give, you can't just sell him in January. You need to strategically plan what you're going to do. We should have done it last summer, but if we're going to do it, it's got to be next summer. You can't do it now. For me, it's the same as Amorim. Like, if we're going to sack Amorim, wait till the end of May. Don't do it now. And if you're going to sell Bruno, wait till the end of May. Don't do it now. I'm absolutely adamant that is not a good idea. And some people won't understand that because they'll go, oh, how can you be Amorim in, but you don't rate him, but then you'd sack him in May? Because it's all about timing, isn't it? It's all about timing. You don't dump your girlfriend 2 days before Christmas Eve. You wait till after Christmas Eve so you can get your presents. It's all about timing. And people might say that's harsh and ruthless. And some of you probably would dump your girlfriend 2 days before Christmas Eve. But you know what? I've just got a brand new PS5 and I can still dump her the day after Boxing Day. That's ruthless. But I'm happy. She's unhappy. But she'd be unhappy anyway and I wouldn't have a PS5. So it's all about timing. I think, and I think that's a good lesson because all you Amorim outers, you're dumping them before Christmas Eve. You're not getting your present, are you? You can still say, let's remove Amorim after Christmas and get your presents. So for me, that's the way Man United should look at it. And it's the same with Bruno. I would take the money for Bruno in the summer when I know I can do a proper rebuild, but I wouldn't take the presents now. I mean, I just wouldn't. No chance. So look, I don't know whether anything will come to pass. But what I would say is that, sometimes you see a story and you know stuff and you go, you know what? I do think there's something in that. I do think there is something in that. I do think Bruno's on a trajectory to leaving this summer. I said that last summer and nothing has changed. I was quite surprised when Bruno did that interview, basically slating the ownership. Not because of putting us into debt, not because they're crap owners, but because they don't appreciate Bruno. The players couldn't give a toss about the Glazers or Ineos. They've got no interest in that. As long as they got money going in their bank account and they can drive into Carrington in a nice car, they couldn't give a toss about season ticket prices. They couldn't give a toss about debts. They couldn't give a toss that we're a shadow of our former self. They're just paid players. Bruno's not happy with the club because they haven't, begged him to stay and given him a new contract or whatever it is. But he's not happy with the club. I think they know they need to cash in, and I think it'll happen in the summer. But you've got to remember as well, there is a big player in this game, and that's Ruben Amorim, who absolutely, every opportunity he can, speaks glowingly about Bruno. So, there's a bit of a collision point there in the summer. If the club pushed to move him out and Amorim doesn't want him to go. But look at what's just happened to Maresca, and how powerful is Amorim? I mean, out of what happened to Maresca yesterday and how Man United copied the Chelsea model, how much power does Amorim actually have? I mean, one of the reasons Maresca is leaving Chelsea is because the fitness department have more of a say than him. So, when you see Ruben Amorim subbing a player off after 60 minutes, some clubs, Chelsea, the manager's got no say in that. The fitness department overrule the manager. This player cannot play longer than this. He's got to come off. So I don't know how much power Amorim would actually have over Manchester United if they decided to sell Bruno Fernandes. But I definitely think we're on the trajectory to him going. I think Bruno's almost at the end of his tether anyway, and I think the club see it as very good. I mean, look, we're run by the Glazers. Imagine imagine the Glazers have got a field full of cows, right? And some of the cows are young and they're going to grow into big bulls that you can get some money for. But then you've got a proud old bull that's on his last legs and soon will be retired. And then somebody comes and pays you really good money. They're going to be all over it. Getting £50 million for a 32-year-old. They're going to think it's Christmas in the summer. So they will do it. They will do it. They will want to do it. And ultimately, I think Bruno will want to go in the summer as well. I just think Amorim and some fans will be against it. But I think we're on the trajectory to him leaving. I think the club are on board. Well, I know the club are on board with it. And I know Bruno's on board with it. It's just about timing. And as I said, the only thing that I think could rescue it is if United suddenly looked like they were going to compete for the Champions League, compete for the Premier League. And I don't think that's going to happen in 5 months.